Life and Teachings of the Masters of the Far East, Chapter 8. After a delay of 8 days, we broke camp on Monday morning and proceeded on our way. The afternoon of the third day out, we came to the bank of a large river. The stream was about 2,000 feet wide, running bank full, and the current was at least 10 miles per hour. We were told that the stream, in ordinary times, could be crossed at this place without any inconvenience. We decided to camp until morning and observe the rise and fall of the water. We were informed that we would be able to cross by a bridge farther upstream, but to reach this bridge would necessitate a detour of at least 4 days' hard travel. We felt that if the water was receding, it would be better to wait a few days rather than undertake the long detour. It had been demonstrated to us that we need not take any thought as to our provisions, for, from the day already referred to, when our provisions were exhausted, the whole company, consisting of over 300 persons, had been supplied with an abundance of provisions from the invisible, as we called it. The supply was maintained for 64 days until we returned to the village from which we started. Thus far, none of us had any idea of the true significance or meaning of the things we were experiencing. Neither were we able to see that these things were performed by definite law, a law that all can use. When we were assembled for breakfast next morning, we found 5 strangers in camp. They were introduced, and it was mentioned that they were from a party that was camped on the other side of the stream and were returning from the village of our destination. We thought very little of this at the time, as we naturally supposed that they had found a boat and had crossed in it. One of our party said, "If these people have a boat, why can we not use it to cross the stream?" I think all of us saw this as a way out of our difficulty, but we were told that there was no boat, as the crossing was not thought to be of sufficient importance to maintain one. After finishing breakfast that morning, we were all assembled on the banks of the stream. We noticed that Emil, Jast, and 𝘮𝘀, with 4 others of our party, were talking with the 5 strangers. Jast came to us and said that they would like to cross with the others to the camp on the other side of the stream, as they had decided to wait until the next morning to see if the water showed signs of receding. Of course, our curiosity was aroused, and we thought it rather foolhardy to attempt to swim a stream as swift as the one before us just to make a friendly call upon a neighbor. We felt that swimming was the only way crossing could be accomplished. When Jast rejoined the group, the 12, fully dressed, walked to the bank of the stream and with the utmost composure stepped on the water, not into it. I never shall forget my feelings as I saw each of those 12 men step from solid ground upon the running water. I held my breath, expecting, of course, to see them plunge beneath and disappear. I found afterwards that was the thought of all our party. At the time, I think each of us held his breath until they were all past midstream. So astonished were we to see those 12 men walking calmly across the surface of the stream without the least inconvenience, and not sinking below the soles of their sandals. When they stepped from the water to the farther bank, I felt that tons of weight had lifted off my shoulders, and I believe this was the feeling of every one of our party, judging from the sighs of relief as the last man stepped ashore. It certainly was an experience that words fail to describe. The 7 belonging to our party returned for lunch. While the excitement was not so intense at the second crossing, every one of us breathed more freely when the 7 were safe ashore again. Not one of our party had left the bank of the stream that forenoon. There was very little discussion regarding what we had witnessed, so engrossed were we with our own thoughts. The second day, the company was toiling up the steep side of a mountain with the hot sun pouring down upon us when our chief, who had said but little during the last 2 days, suddenly remarked, "Boys, why is it that man is obliged to crawl and grovel over this earth?" We answered in chorus that he had voiced our thoughts exactly. He went on to say, "How is it, if a few are able to do the things we have seen accomplished, that all men cannot accomplish the same things? How is it that man is content to crawl, and not only content to crawl, but is obliged to do so? If man was given dominion over all things, he was certainly given power to fly above the birds. If this is his dominion, why has he not asserted the dominion long ago? The fault must certainly be in man's own mind. This must all have come about by man's mortal concept of himself. He has only been able, in his own mind, to see himself crawling. Thus, he has only been able to crawl." Then Jast took up the thought and said, "You are perfectly right. It is all in man's consciousness. He is limited or unlimited, bound or free, just as he thinks. Do you think that the men you saw walk across the stream yesterday to save themselves the inconvenience of this trip are in any way different? In any way special creations any more than you are? No. They are not created in any way different from you. They do not have one atom more power than you were created with. They have, by the right use of their thought forces, developed their God-given power. The things you have seen are accomplished in accord with a definite law, and every human being can use the law if he will.